Welcome to Merkaba Chakras, where we talk Buddhism in the fifth dimension.
Welcome to another episode of Merkaba Chakras podcast. Today, we have two very wonderful people who met through the dating odyssey that many of my hypnosis clients seeking love go through. I have personally known Anna for almost a decade through work and observed her going through third dimensional dramas of push, pull, vagueness, and no direction regarding dating, which attracted low vibe 3D men. Now, a year ago, Anna and I had a heart to heart about giving the universe clear directions regarding what fifth dimensional relationship she wants to attract in her life. And her perfect match popped into her life during the COVID-19 pandemic. Wow. Ironically, her fiance, Daniel, went through the same journey as Anna. This is so wonderful. Let's get into their fifth dimensional love story.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm so excited to get into this because this is a common one that I get from my hypnosis clients. And one of the most common things that people are working on is how do I attract that high vibe relationship, especially when they're dating. So, we're gonna kind of get right into it. Okay, Anna, I'm gonna start with you first, and we're gonna kind of rewind.
Okay.
We're gonna rewind.
Yes.
Now, I've known you for a decade as a coworker, slinging IT in our day jobs, and your dating odyssey has always entertained me. I just have a
Mhm.
great laugh. I think I dated vicariously through you because I'd
Oh
already
yeah.
met my, I already met
Mhm.
my husband and I was happy. I'm still happy.
Mhm.
But before we talk to Daniel, we're going to rewind with Anna back to when Anna was single and dating out of luck in Seattle.
Oh yeah.
Anna, can you tell everyone your story for what dating was like in Seattle and why you decided to move to San Diego? So let's start from the very beginning,
Yeah.
girl.
Very beginning. So I dated in Seattle. I was on and off, dates here, dates there, and I just was not finding the right guy. At the beginning, I thought, oh well, maybe it's Seattle. Maybe I need to find that my plus one somewhere else. And it was just a lot of a lot of error. I'm not. I'm only gonna say error because when I really didn't have clear intentions of what I wanted. I probably didn't have a list of exactly. I think you have to know what you want and what you don't want. So I think I was just dating these people that was just giving me the vibe. Okay, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. But then I was always thinking, when am I gonna find that guy that it's for me?
Well, let me ask you a question, Anna, because you just said something that's very, very common. So when you were single, you were dating to basically kind of date the market and find out what do they want, what do they want, what do they want. So you didn't really have a focus on what you wanted in a relationship or in somebody that you wanted to, possibly date for seriously.
I possibly had the idea, but it was vague, and I was not calling it out to the universe. I did not have a real vision of who that person was. And I think I was just concentrating on the bad. Like, okay, they do this, they do that, they're like this, they're like that, they're not for me. I think I had to maybe concentrate on the good, right? Like I want to call out this type of person. And I think I was just calling it out to the universe at that point. I
So,
was just dating.
right. So you were so let me get this straight for people because you exhibit a lot of very common things that people do in dating and they get so frustrated spinning the wheels. So you were dating and you were just kind of going, well, this person didn't hit this, and you were calling out the bad. And what did you get? More of the bad?
Right. Right.
Uh,
We're the worst. And at some
Builds up.
point, yeah, I left Seattle because I honestly thought, well, maybe Seattle is not the place where that I need to be. And then I moved to San Diego about 6 years ago. And the first 6 years or I want to say the first 5.5 was probably the same of that. And I said, well, maybe it's not the location. Maybe it's just my intention. I really need to set it out there, you know?
Right, right. So let me ask you this, Anna, because I'm breaking apart a lot of these things that you guys are going through. And we'll get to Daniel because Daniel's experience is kind of the same, but from a guy's perspective. But so in Seattle, you were going through the dates and you're just calling out the bad on this guy didn't have this and this and this. And so then you're getting more of the type of guys that you didn't want because you're putting that charge out. And so, and you didn't really have a clear picture with focus on what you wanted in somebody, the positive that you wanted. So you got more of the negative that you were focusing on. So that that makes sense. Now then you went to San Diego and you were getting the same type of guys, but in a different location. That
Right.
what was a typical date that you were typically getting? Describe to everybody your horrible date stories.
I
Well,
want to hear these.
yeah. I think most of them were just guys that didn't know. I mean, I really wanted someone serious and I wanted to portray that. But even though I portray that, people still didn't care. The guys didn't care. They're like, no, I want more of they wanted more of the casual relationship. And even though I was explaining, or in your dating profile you have, I want a long lasting relationship, they just don't care. They disregard that and they still think they can get something casual or the girlfriend of the night, you know? And that was just what I was getting, just not someone that was serious and had the intentions I had.
Right, right. And you know what's funny because even in Seattle, when you were dating, I was like, what are you putting out there? And it was always so funny to see that you were getting what you didn't want. As you put more of the focus on what you didn't want, you're getting more of that. And then when you moved to San Diego, you would come into the office sometimes to kind of do an office visit for meetings and so forth. And when you came in, we would obviously catch up. How's San Diego? How's the date life? Et cetera, et cetera. And you said the same thing. I said, well, what's the deal? Let's take a look at your profile. And
You did
remember,
look at my profile.
I tell me. Okay, I'm kind of I kind of call things out sometimes, but when we looked at your profile, it was very vague.
It's right. It was not a clear meaning of what I wanted. It didn't say I want this, I want this, I want this. And I think I learned that from you. As soon as you said, "Hey Anna, you really need to put it out there. I need to talk to the date right away. Don't wait." Because I said, "Well, I don't want to scare him away. If I right away," you're like, "Nope, they're gonna be wasting your time if you don't do that." You know?
Yeah. Yeah, because and you're wasting their time because if they want a casual fling and you're not the girl that's offering a casual fling, then you're wasting their time because their casual fling is probably next around the corner. So
Yeah.
you're doing them a favor, giving them what they want, and then you're getting what you want. So,
Right.
you guys shouldn't be dating in the same lane because you want different things. And like
Right.
I always say, there's nothing wrong if you want to casual date. Put the disclaimer out there and only date people who want casual dating. But you
Right.
wanted something else. And so, when we talked last October, we had a conversation about narrowing, after, I don't know, like 7 years, 8, 9 years, some crazy amount, because you were in San Diego for 6 years. So,
Mhm.
we had the discussion last October, and we went through what you were going through, and I asked you, you need to narrow down what you really want, and
The
not
non-negotiables, right?
the non-negotiables, and not be appeasing to every other guy that did not have the same intentions as you. So can you tell everyone what you figured out that you really wanted, and these were your non-negotiables, and if they didn't fit
Yep.
this, you weren't going to waste their time with
Yep.
what you wanted. So what did you figure out that you wanted in a man?
So my non-negotiables was a man that wanted a serious relationship. He was ready to have a family. I don't have any kids, so for me, it would be ideal to have someone that could do this journey together, get married, have kids of our own. That was like one of the things. Someone that's not jealous or controlling. Someone that they have like they're responsible, they're mature, and they're financially responsible too. Because for me at that point, I had worked hard for my I had a house and 401k and no credit, no debt. So for me, like I want to find that person that's matching because I wanted to find that equal and then
Right.
together, not for someone for me to be like, oh, honey, let me teach you about savings or, you know, someone that was already there with me and that we could like build together. That was
Right. And that is so critical. I mean, you have to know, I mean, you knew exactly where you knew your value very well. You knew that you worked on your career, you worked on your finances, you worked on, just kind of being stable, and you wanted somebody equal or more than what you offered and put on the table, not less, so that if you guys were to be a good fit for each other and then pursue possibly marriage or children, which was your ultimate intention.
yeah.
If they didn't want the same thing, I mean, obviously if it doesn't work out and there's no connection, that's fine, then you move on, you date somebody else with the same intentions, but
Mhm.
that's ultimately what you wanted, so that when you met somebody at the same level, you guys can go from there and then build up instead of trying to
Right.
bring somebody up and then
Right.
slow yourself down.
Right.
So you want somebody with match energy, um, and go from there.
I
So
found him.
yeah. So Daniel, I want to get to Daniel because you figured out what you wanted. You sent that to
Yep.
the
Yes,
universe, and then
absolutely.
Daniel, I hear you were dating with focus intentions, like you knew
Yes.
what you were focusing on,
Oh,
but
yes.
you weren't having much success either. So what was your dating story and the type of dates that you were getting before you met Anna? Because guys go through this as well.
Oh, yeah. I think for me, I was the same boat. I wanted someone that I could settle down with, get married, have a family relatively soon. And I think that people I have dated, when I bring that up, they want to have a little bit of time. Even though I'm in my late 30s, their time frame is 4 to 5 years down the road. I'm like, that's just not going to work out, because I'm 37, I'll be 38 in November, and I just want to have a family on my own. And I think for me, it was finding someone that was not only compassionate and caring, someone that could lift me up when I'm down, and I can vice versa do that for her. I think for me, having a good heart, family oriented, again, having your finances in order, because in reality, if divorce is the first thing from divorce is financial issues. So I wanted someone I met that was smart, intelligent financially, hard worker, just a kind person. I growing up, I went through bullying and whatnot, and to find someone that has the heart that she has, it's just incredible. And I think like a lot of times when you're dating, you kind of settle. You're so
Explain that, because I
yes,
hear that a lot from my male hypnosis clients, where they settled with what they ended up finding out later was a project. Kind of like
exactly.
Anna was
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Change it. They want to change him.
I call that missionary dating. It's
Right.
meet someone, yeah. You meet someone, it's like, I'm gonna fix that on you. It's like, no, the only way it's gonna work is if that person you meet that very first visit or that first sight, that person who she is, if you don't like that, then it's not gonna work out. I always say you can't change someone, and if you go into a relationship where you have that mindset, it's gonna fail. Also, too,
Mhm.
sometimes people they put on a fake front. They make an online profile. They'll put older pictures. They'll word it differently. When you meet that person, for me and Paula, we sent each other a message on a Saturday or a Friday. We met
The
Sunday.
next day,
Yeah,
like the
so,
very next day, we
yeah.
met in person.
Because my thing is, you're going a week or two, even 3 weeks texting or walking or talking, messaging, each other, and then you meet them, and it's like, oh, that was a
A
waste of
waste of
3 weeks.
time.
3 weeks. It was at a coffee shop. We spread everything on the table. It's like, this is what I'm looking for. This
4 hours.
is 4 hours.
4 hour
4 hours.
It was more
Wow.
of an interview and a negotiation, actually. But I mean, it's amazing how when you finally meet that one person, how everything just connects. I mean,
It just feels so natural.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
think
Let
a
me
lot
ask
of
you
times,
something about that. Because you guys bring up some very, very good points that both of you guys did wonderfully. And I mean, Anna, you said it earlier that for a long time you were making concessions. You were like you didn't want to be seen as mean or rude, and and so you would kind of appease the men, and then in the very end, when push came to shove, you realize, you know what? No, this isn't going to work. I'm not going to save you. I'm not going to rescue you. I'm not your mom. I want somebody
Mhm.
who's my equal who I can move forward with. And I'm
Mhm.
not going to take care of you or
Right.
help you. That for some people, that's what they want. And that's fine. That's part of their journey. For you, you didn't want that. You wanted equal that you can move forward with. And the
Mhm.
same, and that's very common with some women that are dating, is that they feel like they have a hard time dating a man who's equal to them, and so they make concessions, and then they try to do the bring up, the take on a project and kind of bring up the guy, and so there's a lot that goes on with that. But then on the flip side, Daniel, what you said, but that was very common as well with some of my hypnosis clients who's looking for love as well, that men do, is they will take on, like you said, a missionary project. Well, they'll take someone who obviously has issues, and they'll try to save her. And so, so you have these people who are not equal to you guys psychologically, and so then eventually it's going to blow up on you. And hopefully at some point when it does blow up on you, you don't have a lot of kids or a lot of finances
Right.
Exactly.
that can muddy it up, which a lot of people do. So seeing that forecast down the road, you're like, I've seen this happen. I don't want that type of dating story. I want to start with somebody who's equal, who's my same energy, who, I'm a strong enough guy. I can have an equal woman that can bring home extra bacon. What guy doesn't like extra bacon?
Well,
So,
that's one thing we always talk about. Is like there's no gender rules. We share everything. Like when we have kids, we're going to be taking care of the kids equally. We're going to be cleaning equally. There's no the
It's
woman does this, the man does that.
We see it as a partnership. We're
Exactly.
gonna be
It's
working together, and
exactly.
that's what I love about us and
Yep,
our relationship. Is like there's no you, there's no
yep.
him. It's us.
And I think a lot of times people think, are some males they like you said, they can get aggressive or they can be very controlling and manipulative and like you need to do this and wear that. I mean, I told her, I said, I love you naturally. I love everything
Mhm.
about you.
You didn't want to. He didn't want to change me. So
No, no, not at all. It's like I love her beauty. She's a stunning woman and she just got a great heart. And I think finding someone like this is definitely hard. It's definitely hard.
yeah, you guys are
But
very
it was
okay.
so worth
healthy.
it.
Our
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
search, our
extremely.
search, and our we didn't lose hope, and we just
Yep.
didn't settle with the wrong person, and it paid off to
Yeah.
wait.
And I'll tell you,
Yeah.
many times that I wanted to delete those online profiles and be like, I'm done. I mean, I was so close, but I had two very good friends of mine that encouraged me and kept me going. And finally, it's ended up,
A matter of
and yeah,
time.
coming out of time. So that's one thing, is never give up. That's one thing I always believe in. Never give up. You will meet someone when you do, it's going to be incredible, but you're going to have to go through some struggles to get there. I mean,
Right.
dating,
Right.
it's just, yeah.
Daniel, when you were coming up with the things that you wanted in a person and in a relationship, so that you were only dating these people that fit within the things that you wanted, you had obviously realistic expectations. But what was it like for a man to kind of date with a focused intention on what you wanted, and then what did you typically come across? Well,
It is hard, I think, because I don't know. I think most people are waiting longer to get married and having kids, and so like I would date like mid to early 30s, and
mhm.
they're basically not in that mindset. Me being 38 this year, it's like they wanted to hold off on the marriage and the kids and having a family and whatnot, and I'm like, well, I'm getting to the point where I need to have that happen age wise, and that's why I was what my two friends told me. I said, try to find someone that your age or a little older, because that you definitely will be on the same path. My friends and family call me an old soul. I'm very old fashioned, very it's just I'm one of those kind of like old souls. And and I think it's one of those things where when you find that person, you definitely know who it is, and you grab onto it and you don't let go.
Oh
You hold
yeah.
on to it. but I
Yeah.
but I think dating is a roller coaster. It really, any advice I can give to any guy out there is like, just don't give up. And it's, I think for me also too, it's how you project yourself. Confidence is a big thing. If you have lack of confidence, you're not gonna attract that person you want. I think it's what you present is what you get.
Mhm.
You know, um,
Mhm.
I've always had a really kind heart, and it's one of those things where I just I love, being a positive person. And that's one thing. If you're a negative person, you're a positive person, it's like oil and water.
Oh, yeah. Not gonna mix.
Not gonna mix, not at all. But that's it was a fun ride, but I'm happy it's done with and I can start my life with this one.
Well, that makes me kind of want to ask, for both of you, what is it, before we get into the first date, what was it like dating with no clear intentions of what you wanted versus dating with intentions of what you wanted? It's like night and day. So obviously,
Exactly, yeah.
tell us the difference between before you guys became a conscious, focused person in what you wanted in a relationship on this path of dating, and before when you weren't. So
I think for me, like before I think it was just I was in love with the idea of being in love. I wanted to have someone so bad that I would settle, I would ignore red flags. And so I would basically, trying to find someone that would love me or want to be with me. And, by doing that and settling, you don't find the right match. And I think
do you feel like you were cheating yourself at that point?
I
Like
did.
you were
Oh,
you were in a
extremely.
relationship with somebody, they check the boxes, there's a body next to you, they're breathing, but you really didn't really you didn't really feel
wasn't there.
satisfied.
Yeah, it's basically it's this blanket feeling where okay, I'm dating someone now, so I'm no longer single. And that's the thing is people think single is a bad thing, and it's actually a good thing because it lets you really learn about yourself and get yourself in the right mindset. I always, if you break up, don't ever go right directly into dating. You need to work on yourself.
To find yourself
Find
again.
yourself, exactly.
Heal.
Yeah, I think it's important to take care of
Yeah.
you. You have to love yourself before you can love someone else. That's what
Right. So you typically attract what you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You attract what you are, as typically the case. And typically, even if
Yep.
you have issues about relationships from your mommy or daddy issues, it's very, very funny because in my hypnosis clients, I typically find commonly, and I see this as well, is that people will attract somebody who mirrors their childhood upbringing or mirrors their parents.
Right.
And so
yeah.
it is funny when you actually go down the layers from generation to generation, those people are dating their family.
Right.
And so they have to really, between dating, it's a very good idea to take a break, compartmentalize. Okay, what did I like? What didn't I like about the last person I dated? What can I, fix, and kind of like narrow your focus a little bit more so you're more clear and you could tell the universe, okay, I know what I don't want now that I've dated it.
I know what I want. You have to know both, right?
Well, sometimes you have to know what you don't want, and especially if you don't know what you want from the very beginning. When you start dating, when you don't exactly know what you want, which is very common. Most people don't know what they want, and that's fine. You kind of date a little bit, and then you learn what you don't want. Well, I definitely know I don't want somebody with 5 baby mamas and like 6 cats and whatever the deal is and stuff. So whatever the crazy amount is, well, I definitely know I don't want somebody who can't keep a job more than 2 months in a row every single time, or whatever the thing is. But sometimes you learn from what you don't want, and then you pare it down so you can only focus on meeting people who don't exhibit the don't wants, and you can kind of narrow down to focus on what you do want. So very, very good distinction. So did dating become more fun once you actually had a focused intention on what it is that you do want?
Yeah. For you.
Yeah. Well, actually, before I met her, I was on a dry spell. I hadn't dated for a few months, and then I actually was, I was really wanting to pursue someone that is exactly what I wanted,
and you just went back.
And I just
back
went
to the
back.
search.
I went back to the search. I joined Facebook dating, and I think it was like a day or two after I joined,
Really?
I came across her profile and I sent her a message, and it's like
it was
it was incredible.
So what was it about her profile that kind of caught your attention? Who was the first person who made the connection?
Was it?
I think
we met. Well, because you match on it. I guess you like each other, and then once you both match, you can initiate a chat.
I think I sent you like a like, and then you responded.
Yeah.
But for me, like I love family, and I loved on her profile that a lot of it, the wording was family oriented. That she said straight out she wants a long term relationship, she wants marriage, a family.
So everything was there. It was not vague anymore.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I know Anna and I had some serious conversations about that because I was like, well, what do you want? She's like, I want to get married and I want to marry, I want to love the person that I marry. And, I want to have kids. And I'm like, well, then put that on your profile. No, but that's going to be a turn off for people. It's like, that's exactly the point. You want to turn off those guys.
If I wouldn't have put that on my Facebook dating, he would have probably passed my profile.
Yeah, you would have got a lot of wishy-washy 3D men who's going, great, another hookup, yay! And then that's not what you wanted. So you have to put that on
Put
there.
it out there.
Yeah, if you don't want those guys hitting you up for a date, then you got to put your intention out there so that you weed them out, and only the ones who want that hit you up. And I remember you saying, well, what if I don't get as much inquiries? I was like, who cares? You're only looking for one guy.
Yeah.
So, and that was perfect. So that's so critical. What were you saying, Daniel?
Oh, it's almost like it's basically like your not your resignation, but your when you're getting a job, what's that letter called?
Oh, like interview?
Okay, when you
resume?
Resume, that's the word. And it's like you're basically saying exactly what you want. And I think a lot of times people fear how they'll be perceived, but it's like
if they're too vocal about what they want, right?
And it's like one thing. It's like I think people that do that, they bash on people. Oh, you're looking for too much. You need to slow it down. Screw that. I want the real thing. I want to find it. And I'm not going to settle. Her profile was amazing, and that's. I think mine was the same. I think I put on there saying I want soon, settling
serious,
down, serious, kids, family, and all that stuff. And I think the fact that we both had that on our profiles really helped us to connect.
Yeah.
Because if I don't mind, she would have returned back to my profile and been like, "Oh man,
I don't know about this guy. He's not serious about what he wants."
It works both ways. It works both ways.
That's perfect. You guys really hit it out of the ballpark once you guys got clear of the universe and was clear with what you want and what you didn't want. And if they didn't meet what you guys wanted, then that's okay. Move on and play the field with what you wanted. Now, you two got quickly matched together. Tell us about what the first date was like. You met on a Sunday. After seeing each other on Friday.
We met on Friday online and met in person on Sunday, and we there's a coffee shop that I went to before that. I loved it, and it was a great place for talking. It's very open there in North Park, and it was funny. Like we sat down and we just started talking, and
we couldn't stop.
We were stop talking. It was incredible.
Sharing, our lives, our upbringing, what we want.
Talking about family. Talking about our desires, family, marriage, and all that.
So everything was put kind of on the table, and a lot of people are like, oh my God, you guys talked about that? Like they're surprised of how much we talked about. We're like, yeah, we were not afraid. I mean, that's how
that's so important. So many people, when it comes to dating, they're so afraid to put their real intentions out there, for fear of being rejected. But who cares if you get rejected? Because they're not the type of people that you wanted anyways.
Yeah.
But what's funny is that we were talking so much and such a connection, we lost track of time. 4 hours later, they're telling us we're closing down the coffee shop.
Sweeping the floor.
I'm like, oh. So it's like when we were walking, I'm like, I asked her straight up, can we go on another date?
Yeah. So there was, before we finished our first date, we already had a second date.
Planned.
So that's what I liked about him, because the 3D men are like, oh, play the game. Let me wait 3 days until I contact you so you don't think I'm interested in you. And with him, he was straightforward. He knew what he wanted. Let's do a date. When are you free? And that's how a real connection should look like,
Yeah. You shouldn't have to follow, rules or things like, waiting to call back 3 or 4 days. Screw that.
That's, the 3D game.
It's like follow your heart. And if you love that person or you're interested, go pursue them, show them who you are. And prove to them that you're that you are who you are, that they can have that trust. That's a big thing because, she's been hurt before. And I knew that for her to really, trust me and love me, I had to show it in my actions, not through my words.
I told him, you got to prove it to me and you got to earn my trust and my love. And guess what? I'm going to have to do the same with you. It's not like a given. For me, with this time, it's like I was just giving my love and my trust away from the beginning. Now, as you're getting older and learning, one of my experiences is like, why don't you show me with your actions? I'm going to show you with my actions.
Exactly.
And we did that throughout our journey.
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's beautiful. Now, Daniel, um, you guys met in, I think, was March.
March,
March. Yep.
early
March.
March.
March. Okay, COVID hit.
March.
Um,
March.
Yeah,
March 8th.
March
March
8th.
8th. COVID
The
was
first
really
date was
hitting.
March 8th.
Yeah, the pandemic was hitting. Now, this is the thing with dating during the pandemic is that you really got to get to the nitty gritty, like get to your intentions, get to what you want, and really have focus because you don't have time to play the field and pussycat around.
There was no dating at that
Yeah.
point, like going to the movies or to the park,
If we you it's funny if we would have waited a week or two later to meet, it probably wouldn't have happened because that's when everything was shut down.
Mm-hmm.
So there would have been no coffee date. There would have been no
The
second
restaurant,
restaurant date
yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
So
So what do you say to people who are trying to date with a focused intention and kind of, at this time? I mean, because they could still date, but then, they have to kind of cut out um the
I think I
BS.
tell my friends this is a good time for you guys to date, this, my single friends, because I feel that both people should be more focused and less about BS, and that person that they want to meet, they're probably gonna narrow it down as much as you would to try to find that person. You're not gonna be going on a date on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday because
Hmm.
there's going on.
and
So I think it's like I was telling them, it's a blessing in disguise.
Yes, yes, it definitely is. Instead of dating like 20 different guys who's gonna or gals who are gonna waste your time because of all the fluff, you're only doing focused, intentional dating, and you are doing quality dates rather than quantity dates, and so
Mm-hmm.
you're making the time work. You're making it, um, good effort, and so you're gonna get more quality dates even if you're not a match. You're going to get more quality time and dates out
Oh,
of it.
totally.
And
oh
if
yeah.
you are a match and you're doing focused dating with good intentions and you're clear with the universe, you're going to get some of those dates, and it's going to be a much more pleasant journey for people who want this. Now, for people who want to play the field and stuff, it's going to be really hard at this time. But it's
I
probably a
think I think
learning
you will.
lesson.
Yeah, I think you will find more honest people and more genuine people through this period in time right now. Because if you're there just kind of meeting and flinging and dating off and on, you're not going to go out and do it during the pandemic. It's only going to be if you really want to put your foot out there and be serious. Because there's a lot this with the COVID. There's a lot of fear out
Risk.
there and risk out there. So you're only going to
Why
risk it if you really
if it's
want to do
worth
it.
it.
Exactly.
You really feel a heart connection, like, okay, we talked on
Yeah.
the Zoom for a couple of times, we're talking on the phone, we're Skyping, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, let's meet here and kind of go from there.
Yeah.
Really, really good points. And so don't be scared to date and find your love during this time, because it really helps. It's kind of like when oil and water and all the stuff kind of comes up, and then
Mm-hmm.
you see where the different layers are,
The gap.
the gap. So it's really separating out a lot of the BS when it comes to
Oh yeah.
dating. Now, let me ask you this, Daniel. How did you know that you wanted to marry her? Because you guys got engaged recently.
August 8th.
August.
Yay! Congratulations! Oh my
I
goodness.
made sure to stayed on the 8th if you noticed that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
She's
I think for me, after the first date, I was head over heels for her, and I knew I wanted to be with her. There was just a connection there that I have never felt. It's like she just was incredibly beautiful. She's you're amazing heart, smart, and you're just incredible in all different ways.
oh.
There was nothing to fix with
There was
Anna.
nothing. It was like
It was
everything
just
I was wanting, and I'm like, at my age, I'm like, I'm not getting any younger, so I'm done with the games, and I after that date, I think it was sealed for me.
And you know what I always thought, Vaughn? For me, is like I'm gonna know who is the man for me when he sees my value, and the value he's gonna see it right away. He's not gonna be like, oh, let me date other three girls, and I've had that. I go on a date with one guy. 3 weeks later, they text me back, hey, how you been, stranger? No, if you didn't see my value from the
Yeah.
beginning, go away.
Well, that's one thing for me. Like I have my friends and whatnot. They'd say when I was dating, you need to date several people at once, and I said I can't do that because if I'm doing that, I'm not giving them the time they deserve. If you really want to meet someone, you need to find someone and invest in them. And if it doesn't work out, great, go to the next one. But
Yep.
if you're doing this serial dating, you're never gonna meet
Take
anything
someone
serious.
seriously.
Yeah, because you're basically they're a little bit of time you're spent with, and you move on to the next one. It's not fair to them or to the person that's doing it.
right, right. Now, did you guys find any kind of weird like synchronicities or things that kind of pop up? Maybe that
Our
around this whole
our
thing.
I think
our
our first
yeah,
date.
it was our humor and our it's
It was just
amazing how cool.
how amazing how we both were so like alike.
Yeah.
Like I would say, "Oh, my mom brought me up like this," or "I did this," and he's like, "Oh, I did the same way,"
Yeah.
or "Hey, I think about this and finances and kids and everything was kind of like insane how alike we were."
This all happened on the first date, by the way.
Yeah,
My husband and I, we met on,
all
yeah.
the different religion, politics,
Oh, yeah.
upbringing, family.
We
Do you
got
guys have anything where you guys aren't, you aren't the same, where, he has a different hobby and you have a different hobby, or,
I think I'm a little like maybe. What do you think? There has to be some differences, right? Because we cannot all be alike. I think I'm just more like active and hyper all the time. Want to do things, and he's more like chill and hey, I want to like
so
rest.
he's your yin and you're the
Yeah.
yang?
So
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
we both meet in the middle. I'm like, okay, I
Definitely.
cannot be all hyper all the time. And he can come back and be like, okay, let's go for a walk or let's do this. Or
Yeah.
so I think we're meeting each other in the middle,
Now, you guys live together, or
We live together,
Yeah,
you
yes.
guys live together? So what was it like, kind of moving in during the middle of, how did you guys navigate? Okay, we met somebody during the middle of the pandemic. We did some
Well,
focused dating.
because basically, I talked about it with her. She's like, you know what? Well, I'll move in and we'll give it a shot just to see how it goes for a week or so. And then like that week went by without any hesitation, and it hasn't changed since.
Yeah, because
But-
for me it was like I really need to make sure I feel comfortable. I work from home, so at that point I wanted to make sure I felt comfortable in every way, and I did. I felt right, like at home. I was just. It's just our dynamics are so chill, so laid back. So we communicate a lot. So that I think that's very important. We're very open with each other.
Well, like she had her condo, and all her stuff was over there. But she brought over a few items here just because she'd have that option if it would work out that way, that she wanted to go back home and end it. Thank God it didn't happen. That she'd have her stuff there. But when we chose to really like, okay,
Move forward.
we love this. We chose to, we're gonna make this. This is it. That we're together for life.
So guess what? I already sold my condo.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
I don't have a backup option anymore. He's my only option.
And because she sold her condo at my house.
Was it easy to sell your condo during the pandemic?
Oh yeah.
It
went
flew
quick.
out.
It went quick.
Well, the thing is, she sold hers, and my house is almost sold now, and we're selling both properties to buy a
our
bigger house
dream
together.
house.
Oh my goodness! Oh my
So
goodness!
we're combining the equity on there to get something
so
better.
that for me,
Wow,
was so important.
2020 was a banger year for you two.
Yeah, we discussed that. It's like, imagine you having to sell your house, but then you didn't have the other person kind of contributing. Or for me, imagine selling my condo and I don't have that other person. But for us to be, like I told you, on the same page and wanting to live that nest or that comfort to start our journey.
Yeah.
We both want to do that, and I think
Right.
that's
Right. Well, it's just so wonderful because you guys had focused intention on what you wanted. You made clear instructions for the universe. It delivered. You dated some people with that met those instructions, and then you found very quickly the one that you felt a connection with. And so you guys cut out a lot of the fat in dating. And so you guys, instead of taking years or long period of time to get to that point where we have match intentions, you already start right from there, and then kind of, went from there on so much faster. So, because I know people and I have clients from hypnosis, when they're dating people, it'll take them 2 or 3 years before they finally get to the point where they tell the other person,
they probably
I
didn't
don't
know. Yeah, they probably weren't sure about how they felt about
right. So they waste like 2 or 3 years with somebody and get invested and get caught up with somebody. And then at the very end, when push came to shove, okay, do you want to get married and have kids if that's what one person wanted? Which if you don't want that, that's fine. But if one person wanted that from the very beginning and the other person was kind of wishy-washy and not clear, they go 2 or 3 years and push came to shove. They're like, no, I don't want to do that. And it's like, well, why did you waste the time? And so that's a common thing. And so you guys were like, I want this. Let's date only these people who are interested in that. And you guys found each other. So you cut off a lot of the time in the fluff of trying to figure out what your intentions were. And so that's really the benefit of dating during the pandemic, if you know what you want and you're clear, so you can get right to the thick of it. So when somebody's looking at you guys going, okay, you met in March and then you guys are moving in and telling your house is in August, that's a very quick time. But when you look at how you guys did it, where you guys were very clear of your intentions, you guys met, you cut all that stuff out, you guys really did shed years of getting to that point off, so it makes sense.
And we were very open with each other. I think that also helps. It's like he should really show me who he is. I really show you who I am. And he told me I have no intentions on changing you. I told him the same. So I think the people that last 3-4 years to kind of figure out whether it's going to work or not, they might not be true to themselves, or the other person might not be true, because if you really show your who you are, you're not going to have to deal with any of that.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, and that stuff hurts. I've had clients and I've known people who they have dated for like 9-10 years, and when it came time to I want to have a kid, the other person said, honestly, I never wanted to have a kid in the first place.
And why did you lie to say you wanted just to be?
Yeah, just because you wanted to be with that person because you like that person, right. But you never had the same outcome intentions, and that's not fair to do to somebody. No. That creates a lot of bad karma, and I've seen that happen with clients who are trying to get over a heartbreak because they dated and invested so long with someone, and had they known before that they never had the same intentions going into the relationship, and they just used up their good years because they were a good catch. It damages people so much. It's hard for them to get back on the wheel. Now, the thing with that, and that's a whole nother subject, but this is going to help a lot of people prevent going through that kind of heartache with focus and tension. So now when you guys have a disagreement, how do you guys get over that? How do you guys work that out? Because that's usually the telltale sign.
We just talk it out.
Yeah. So if for some reason...
So simple.
Or he's upset, I just say, let's calm down. Let's talk when we're both, when we're out of it, and we come back and he tells me his point of view. I tell him my point of view, and we just, like I told you, we talk about everything. And
you're not afraid to be honest.
We didn't want to let it explode. We're not like that.
That's one thing where I think when there's an argument, you have to let it cool down. You can't go right into like talking it up, because there's negative energy there's anger, and it's just going to add fuel. So it's important when you have an argument to let both sides calm down, collect their heads, and then talk about it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. You guys, Anna and Daniel, it was so much fun. We can go on and on about this, but we gave people a lot of really good insight to finding love during the pandemic and long after the pandemic as well. And again, I'm so happy that you guys found each other. Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you, girl. Because I feel like you were always my number one fan and my cheer. You were there for me, and that's the first thing you said. Well, what about now? What about now? And I finally tell you that I found the man of my dreams, and I'm engaged, and we're planning a life together.
I'm so excited. We had to do an update when you guys become parents, and then we could do a podcast of. We will. We'll do a podcast interview. Newborn parents, and we'll do a follow up on that, and that'll be so much fun because that's a whole different journey as well. But you guys, your love story really shows how anyone can meet with the same success, and it's really that simple. Everyone, you just have a 2-step process. Know what you want and focus on the prize. It's really that simple. So both of you, thank you for a wonderful, fun interview. And for everyone else listening, thank you for listening to another enlightening conversation. Until next time, blessings.
Thank you so much, Vaughn.
Thanks, Vaughn.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Merkaba Chakras, where we talk Buddhism in the 5th dimension. For more information about today's guest, please go to the show description. For more information about Vaughn's metaphysical work, please go to merkabachakras.com. The views expressed today are for entertainment purposes and do not necessarily reflect the views of the host or replace any medical or legal advice. Don't forget to subscribe for more interviews about the fifth dimension. Until we meet again, blessings.